What's going on? It's Illusive here, and today we're finally lowering my 2004 Honda CBR 600RR. So as a 5'6" individual, getting on a sports bike is not really the most pleasurable thing you can do. I've gotten used to being able to not flat-footed. Obviously, I'm used to that now at this point, but it's just not really comfortable. Even like moving around the bike in a parking lot with your feet, it's like impossible. It just strains your legs and everything else in between. So I said, fuck it, let's lower it. It's a pretty simple process. All we're going to be doing is removing this dog bone they call right here. We're removing that and putting in a different one in that is longer. The longer the dog bone, the lower the bike. We're also going to be lowering the front, because if you lower the back, you're also supposed to lower the front. It's kind of like a car. So in order to lower the front, you have to loosen the triple tree bolts. There's 2 on top and then 2 on the bottom. I think there's actually 4 on the bottom. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. I'm not really sure. Lowering the front's gonna be a little trickier than the rear. The rear is pretty easy to lower. The front is a little different. But right now we're gonna get the bike on stands and then we'll take it from there. So the bike's on the stands now. These are super nice Moto D stands. They're not like super breaking the bank, but they're also very good quality. I prefer these over the cheap option, I guess. That way, you're not going to absolutely die. Pitbull, I think, are the best. Pitbull are the best brand to get for these. These work just as good. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we have to jack up. I did this one time already with a different kit, but because I know that's kind of how I know what we're doing here. So I have to jack up the oil pan just a hair. The wishbone, whatever you want to call it, dog bone, here has to be at a certain height, so all the pressure is off the suspension components. So I'm gonna just put a jack under it and then lift it until the dog bone bolts are loose. You're going to want to watch when you're jacking this up, because I threw it on the front stands as well. It just makes the bike, I don't know, up a little bit higher, so it's less you got to jack up. You got to be careful when you jack it up, because sometimes the bike likes to tip over, like this way or that way, depending on how you got it on the stands here. But I think I got it pretty good in the stands where it's not going to tip over as much. So I think I got to jack up just a little bit more. I did put a piece of wood under the jack just in case it would go through the oil pan, but it's not going to. It's got the rubber piece on it just in case. And make sure you don't jack it up on the header exhaust here. Otherwise, you're probably going to rip through that. It's just not meant to be jacked up on. So, yeah. So all we're going to do is jack it up just a little bit more, and then those bolts should come right out. Also, another tip I forgot to mention: try to get this mount as far back as possible. That way, it lifts the bike up as far as possible. Unless you have the jack, I forgot that I had to do that, and then I had to put the mounts back on. Not a big deal. Just make sure you try and get as far back as you can. That way, you get to lift it less. Because obviously, the more you lift it, the less balance the bike has, and the more it's gonna fucking fall over. So don't have your bike fall over on you. I don't have those mounting bolts that you use to jack up on, so I have to use the stupid rubber until I get those. I should probably invest in those, but I haven't yet, so my mistake. Also, the front is harder to jack up because I don't know why I can't get it perfect, but yeah, I'm gonna try and jack it up again. I couldn't get up high enough. The bike was wobbling and stuff, so I figured, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it back and get the mount in the back, because the more you have this in the back, the easier it is. Let's get the jack up. So it's also recommended you get a person to help you with this. It's a little tricky, so make sure you do that so you don't drop your bike like I almost did. Okay, update. I kind of ditched the front stand. I was having problems with it. So what happened was I was jacking it up in the middle by the oil pan, and if you jack it up too much, it kind of hops off of these. So you only can go up so much, but you have to go up a certain amount. So all I did now was I got it good now. There's 2 bolts here, one here, and then one on this side here. So I'm just gonna remove those 2. It's just 2 nuts and 2 bolts, and then that will remove the dog bone. All right, so I ended up getting all the bolts out now. I had to actually use a hammer to get them out. I don't know if mine were just super tight or something, that were in there for a long time or something, but I did end up getting the bolt out. All I had to do was hit it with a hammer. And as you can see, this bolt has the Allen head on it with a nut. And this one is just a regular bolt with a nut. Pretty easy. Once you get the bike set and not toppling over, it's super easy. So this is what I went with. I ditched the front stand. I had too much problems. So I had the rear stand on the max height, and then I just jacked it. I had to jack it a little bit under the exhaust, but not on the exhaust, still on the oil pan. Just make sure you be careful when you're jacking it. Make sure you watch, make sure it's not tipping when you're jacking it. So jack it slowly. So now we're gonna remove the dog bone here. All it is this piece here. So we're gonna be replacing this. I'll show you guys the one that I have. So this is the stock dog bone. As you can see, no adjustment at all. And this one is the 1 inch or 3 inch lower. So I'm gonna choose the 1 inch just for now and see how low it looks. I don't wanna go too low, otherwise then the pegs scrape against the ground on turns and stuff, so you don't wanna do that. So I'm gonna try that here. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple design. I'm not sure what company makes this. If I find out what company it is, I'm gonna put it in the description. But as of right now, I don't remember. I ordered it quite a while ago. So I'm gonna install that. Pretty simple. All you gotta do is, again, fuck with the jack, getting it so it aligns properly. After that, pretty simple. You just put the bolts back in, and then that's all there is to it. So it goes in just like this on both sides. And you're gonna install both bolts, same as you did. The hardest part really in general was doing it by yourself. I recommend doing it with somebody else. But right now I didn't have anybody home, so I did it myself. Yeah, so we're gonna install that. So pretty straightforward. You just lower or raise the bike depending on the height you're choosing. I had to lower the lift or the jack to get it to line up, because obviously you saw this is a longer link. So the longer the length, the lower it goes. So the options for me are lowering it 1 or 3 inches. The back hole is 3 inches. This is the front hole. So now all I gotta do now is torque them down. I believe these are supposed to be 32 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna use a torque wrench on that just so it doesn't fall off. I have faith this is not gonna fall off because you can't even get it off on the ground. So I don't think it's gonna be getting off anytime soon, but just safety first, torque down our suspension components and stuff. So we're gonna torque it down here and then see what it looks like. So to be expected, I forgot a step, of course. So I had it torqued all down and everything. I had to take it all out. So what I missed was there is a bearing. There's like a cylinder bearing in here. You have to take that out and put that in this end here. That stops, it's the one with the hex on it. That stops this bolt so it doesn't keep going in. I forgot that part. And then obviously if you don't have that in there, their bolt just keeps going this way. Obviously it's not very safe. It's just gonna eventually fall out sometimes, so make sure you have that in there. Then it'll all work. Alright, everything is in and torqued down. I torqued it to 37 or 35 foot-pounds, I think, just a little bit extra just in case. These are pretty important, so make sure you do tighten them down. If you don't have them tight and they somehow would fall off, which they wouldn't, it's just very uncommon, but if they would fall off, this pretty much what happens. What happens is the bike literally just kind of like, the whole rear just collapses, and in my case, it would probably rip the rear tire right off because the plate's on here. And the exhaust is right there, so make sure you do not do that. Be a very bad accident. Alright, so now we're gonna, seeing as how I said that, we're gonna lower everything. Also, I did not mention, we're gonna need to do a different kickstand. I did order it already. I have it in the bag here. So it looks just like the OEM one. Besides, you can adjust it, because obviously if you lower the bike, the angle of the kickstand is different. So we got a different kickstand. Looks very simple, very minimalist. I tried changing the kickstand already because this kickstand, as you guys can see, has been torn to shit. Looks like a pirate's leg. That's how I always call it. So we're gonna do that right now. Pretty easy, just one bolt here, and then that's a nut in the back. You take that off and the spring off, and then you replace it with this. So we're gonna do that now. All right, I was trying to record the video of me taking the thing off, but I don't know, some shit happened. But anyway, Kickstand's off. This is the old one. The new one is on. It's about an inch shorter to compensate for the inch lower. So I'm gonna end up lowering the bike, not lowering the bike, taking the bike off the stand now, and then we're gonna see what it looks like. That's a little too much lean. Just a little bit too much lean. So as you can see, when I adjusted the kickstand, I might have made it too short now. So it's pretty simple to change. All I'm gonna have to do is just put it back on the stand quick here. And then the spring here, I'm gonna take off the spring and then push out that lever just a little bit more, and that'll be it. All right, so I adjust the kickstand. I think I moved it 2 notches. This is probably pretty good. I mean, I'm pushing it around, it's not falling, so I mean, what else do you need it to do, really? So far, first thoughts I said on it, it doesn't really feel like that much lower, but it looks a lot lower. Does it like not look lower? I think it looks a lot lower, but we're gonna do a little drive here. I did not lower the front. I'm probably gonna save that for a different day, maybe when I do the new levers. I got new levers here. These ones are kind of fucked up. Sometimes they don't return back, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. So we're gonna do different levers too. I have them in the basement already. So maybe I'll do the triple tree front lowering when I do the levers. I haven't really decided yet. I'm trying not to mess with the triple tree. I know that's a pretty complicated, not really complicated, but it's just something I don't really want to fuck with right now. I know I did the rear before, so it's not too complicated. So yeah, we're gonna go for a little drive here to kind of see how the bike is, but I'll kind of show you guys what it looked like on the bike. So when I'm on it here, before I had like just barely my tiptoes on the ground. Now, if I lean the bike just a little bit to one side, I can get almost flat-footed, which is really nice, because especially when you're trying to take over big bumps at super slow speeds, it can catch you off guard sometimes, and it's nice to be able to move around a little bit. Yeah, but for now, I might keep it at 1 inch. I might lower it to the lowest setting on here. I haven't really decided yet, but that's gonna be for a different day. Like I said, this is gonna be just a lowering for 1 inch. See how I like it. They say the ride quality goes down if you don't lower the front with it, but I feel like it doesn't matter. Personally, my ride sucks already on this thing because the front shocks are leaking, or what do you want to call them, the front forks, whatever you bikers call them. They're leaking on the bike. They've been leaking since I got them. Someone was trying to wheelie on them probably and fucked up many times. So yeah, the fork seals are leaking on this already, so the ride isn't already that great. So we're gonna go for a little ride here and see what it looks like. I mean, like, first thoughts, it feels really good. Like, it doesn't feel like it has an issue with anything. Second thing is the setting on here. There's like 2 settings I mentioned. One lowers it 1 inch and one lowers it 3 inches. The 3 inch mark is like a centimeter away from the 1 inch mark. So I really don't think it's gonna lower it 3 inches. So I might, not today, but a different day, just switch it to the 3 inch and see what it's like. I might just test it around a little bit just to see, but like I said, this is like, it's a test run, you know, just to see. 1 inch is good enough, but if I can lower it more and make myself more comfortable, I might. I've been loving this bike so far. I feel bad for the silver RSX because that was kind of like my daily car that I drove to work every day, and now I drive this thing to work every day. So I kind of feel bad. The silver RSX, the calipers in the rear are rusting because I haven't driven it in so long. It feels bad, dude. I love that car a lot. It's just this thing is so much fucking fun. Other worry is if I lower it too much, like some of these sharper turns, not this turn, but like some of the sharper turns I go on, like some of those turns the pegs might hit the ground, but right now it's not hitting the ground. We're good. Like, we're not even close. And some of these turns are a little bit more sharp. I'm taking them a little quicker, but Yeah, so far this bike has been amazing. Only real problem has been, like I said, the fork seals, which I discovered after like a few days of buying the bike, which is whatever. It was only like 50 bucks, so we're gonna figure that out. Yeah, so some of the bumps, it rides a little rough. It's not like ridiculous, like throwing me off the bike rough, but it definitely has some pop to it. So we're gonna have to be fixing that very soon as well, because that's really uncomfortable. It's something I got used to already, so. This thing fucking goes, dude. I love it. I love it so much. Like, getting into bikes was like my first mistake. Because now everything is slow. Every car I go in is slow. This thing is just so much fun, dude. You gotta have a bike to know what it feels like, honestly. But yeah, like I said, I only lowered the bike to the 1-inch mark. And then I will link everything in the description to what I did. Any questions? I didn't really go in crazy detail as I had problems along the way, but any questions, let me know. I can try my best to answer them, but I'm no expert by any means. This is my first ever bike. I've only had experience with pedal bikes before this, so this is my first ever bike. And I could say it's a lot nicer having it an inch lower. I could say that for sure. It's a lot nicer. It could be a lot nicer though. It could be a lot better, I feel like. We're gonna stop and get some gas at Quick Trip here in a minute. I'm kind of running low here. Any people who have any suggestions on how the bike geometry changes when you only lower the rear, please let me know. I'm kind of curious. I've read you read forums, you read around, it's like, oh, okay, well, this person says this person says that. You know, there's firm believers and everything, so I want to know what your guys' opinions are. I would never look at a vehicle the same way after being on a bike. Just fucking kicks ass, dude. This thing, I love the sound of this thing too. I bought it with this slip-on. It's like I can't remember the fucking name of it now. I've looked at it so many times. Jardine, I think it is, Jardine. Really good quality, I think, for what you get. I mean, it's like I think it's $300 or something. I didn't pay for it, but it's like a $300, $400 slip-on. Oh shit, there's a copper here. They're coming to eat my toes. I better get out of here. This motherfucker gonna kill me. It's gonna eat me up. He gonna eat me up like a fucking Tootsie Roll on a stick. But yeah, the crazy thing, I was getting, in that last fill up there, I had 110 miles. It was 2.5 gallons, so I don't know, what does that equate to, like 35 miles to the gallon? And I'm like fucking ripping on this thing, like every turn, like this. Like every fucking time I get a chance to, I fucking do, and it's a terrible habit, because, you know, one of these days a cop's gonna pull up behind me and I'm just not gonna be there. So that's how I look at it. But yeah, the bike's handling great. A lot more comfortable on it, I'd say. I could definitely go more lower. I mean, you can definitely always lower it more, but then the bike geometry, whatever they say, might be off even more, and then I don't know. I'm gonna look into it a little bit more before I actually like full send 3-inch drop this thing. I said, I really haven't thought about it a whole lot. Haven't done the most research I should have probably done, but you know, typical me. Let's just buy the shit. Let's not actually do the research. More fun that way. Learn as you go. Yeah, like I said, the fork seals are the main thing I have a problem with on this bike right now. Everything else rides really smooth. Shifts really nice. Everything else is great. Never had any problems yet. But the other thing I'm going to be changing out is the dirt bike bars, as you guys can see, maybe or not see. The previous owner installed these for whatever reason he thought it was a more comfortable ride, which I probably agree with. It probably is more comfortable standing up like this versus the crotch rocket style, but I'm not sure. I've never had the crotch rocket style handlebars, so I'm really not sure. Also, these roads are fucking ridiculously terrible here. I don't know why I chose these roads. But yeah, the dirt bike bars are not terrible. I will admit they're not terrible. But personally, I want to try out the crotch rocket bars, the ones that come off the triple tree. Just want to try it out. That's what comes on the car naturally. So I figured there's probably some hype about it. I don't know what the main I know people say you have wrist problems with the crotch rocket style. We'll see. I think it's all personal opinion. I don't know how you feel, but generally, when I first got the bike and I was getting used to, like, you know, all the muscles you strain, like that you're not used to, like your butt muscles on the seats and stuff, and your legs and your arms, and your main thing was my hands got numb. Like I'd be driving for, like, I don't know, less than 20 minutes, riding for less than 20 minutes, and my right hand would always go numb. Like I couldn't feel it at all. But now I'm kind of over that. It doesn't really get numb anymore, so that's always good. Because I was kind of a bitch in the beginning. It was a little colder when I first got the bike, but it was like, we're talking like 10-degree difference, so. Oh, that's slippery. Don't do that. That tar strip in the middle is slippery. Almost busted my nuts. It's crazy how much stuff you gotta look out for on a bike. You gotta watch for everybody else who's retarded and doesn't know how to drive. And then you gotta watch out for the people who actually do know how to drive. Like, then you gotta watch out for the obstacles, like the paint lines, wet line, everything else. I mean, it's just a lot to watch out for, but big responsibility, big reward. I feel like it's just a lot of fun. So anybody think about getting a bike, get the fuck out of here, get a bike. So that'd be pretty much it, guys. Like I said, any questions, be sure to let me know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert on lowering motorcycles, as you could see from the video. This is my first time, so any questions, let me know, and then I'll be sure to get back to you. But yeah, that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Adios, motherfuckers.
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I got all this potential that's deep inside of me, but they hate when you're successful cause they try to be. They sit there being judgmental because you try.